Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Gautam's Cooking Adventures. In this episode, we'll show you how to make Aloo Posto, which is a Bengali dish, and we'll give you more details as we go forward. As always, you will find a copy of the ingredients list in the description below this video. Today is Bengali New Year's Day, and so we are going to make Aloo Posto, which is a common Bengali dish. It's made with aloo or potato. We've cut potatoes and immerse them in water to ensure that they don't get discolored. What we will also require is mustard oil, which is the standard oil used for all Bengali cooking. Turmeric. There's green chili that has been sliced fine. This is approximately 4 large Thai chilies, and you can add more if you want, depending on how spicy you want the posto to be. A little bit of sugar, some Khus Khus seeds, which will have to be submerged in water and allow the seeds to soften. It takes about between 2 to 4 hours, and once they soften, it's then ground into a nice paste like you see here. You'll also need salt to taste, Kalonji or onion seeds, and finally some chopped cilantro. We've taken a large pan and put it on the stove on high heat, and to this we are adding the mustard oil. Mustard oil, when it starts out cold, is a dark brown liquid, and as it heats up it starts to discolor, becomes more of a yellow, light yellow discoloration takes place, and that's when you know that the mustard oil is hot. Mustard oil has a very pungent smell and is a lot more viscous than most oils that we get. It's a thicker fluid, but does thin down as it heats up. It makes for an ideal cooking medium in high heat cooking. As it's getting hotter, it started to become a lighter yellow, and it's become a much lighter liquid. You can see it's ready now. It started to fume a bit, and we will start with adding the onion seeds of Kalonji to it first. Kalonji has a very specific taste. Most Bengali cooking uses this. It's part of what's called the panchparon, or the 5 spices, and it's something you will probably find in most Bengali dishes. As it starts to sputter, we have started adding the aloo or the potato, and we'll allow the potato to fry just a little bit to coat outside, just a slight brown. Now remember, you're putting the potato in, taking it out of water, so it's going to sputter a lot more. So be careful. Take the precautions to stay a little further away from the stove so you don't get hot oil on yourself. We're adding the turmeric powder, and as the potato is cooking and frying a little bit, the turmeric will also add to the color. We're adding the green chili in. Give it a quick mix. remember the steps in cooking is every time you add a component, give it a stir, mix it in well. You want every component that goes in to coat the entire ingredients. We just added some salt. Now again, remember the golden rule about salt, always start with a smaller quantity, keep adding as you cook. You can always add salt even at the end, but you can't take away if it's got excess salt. So remember that always. We're going to let this cook a little bit, let the aloo get coated somewhat. We covered it now to allow for it cooking and for the moisture to stay within. Now we're waiting for the potato to cook. I'm going to go back to the paste that we made from the poppy seeds, Khus Khus paste. It needs to be nice and pasty, nice soft paste. It should not be granular. That's why it's important to ensure that you have soaked the poppy seeds for a fair amount of time. And poppy seeds will give the curry a specific taste of its own, but more importantly, it will also help to thicken the base. It's been about 2 minutes since we covered it. We're going to give it a quick stir, check on how the potatoes are cooking. This is really a very simple, straightforward dish, not difficult to make. But it's a dish that you'll find in just about every Bengali home, most often cooked almost every day. Aloo is one of the favorite vegetables on any standard Bengali platter. We're covering it back again after giving it a nice stir and wait for it to cook some more. The potato has to cook well. So we'll come back and revisit this in a little while. Today, on the occasion of the Bengali New Year Day, we're going to be cooking the Aloo Posto and also a payash, which is a sweet dish. We'll have a separate episode on how to cook the payash as well. Now, I did forget to mention that, while we were cooking initially with high heat till we started covering the dish, we've turned it down to a medium flame to ensure that it cooks evenly, but it does not overcook or catch in the bottom. So please keep that in mind. We're cooking it on a lower flame. The idea is to allow the potato, the aloo, to cook well, while the rest of the items do not catch or burn. So remember, as of now, we have not added any water to the mix. Any moisture there is still only what's from the potato and whatever moisture was coating it from the initial dunk in the water that it was in. So there's hardly anything there, but you can see the steam coming out, and so there is water being created, and that's basically the potato giving out some of its liquid. Now we're using a double bottom pan, so the idea of it catching or burning is much less at risk than if you were doing it on a kadai or a single bottom pan, where you might need to stir it more often because it can easily catch. The thicker the pan, the better it is. We're testing the potato at this point of time to see if it's cooked. Just a quick press down. It's not easy to break, so which means the potato has to cook a little while longer. Now, as you know, that the bigger the pieces, the longer it takes to cook. So you have a choice. Ideally, people would like a larger piece, a larger chunk, but quite often people also make smaller pieces, so they cook faster. What we will do is we'll wait for it to get to the point where it's almost cooked, not entirely cooked yet, and at that point in time we will be adding the paste that we created from this poppy seed, the Khus Khus paste. Now remember that unlike most of other cooking, we have not added any chili powder in this mix. all of the spice in terms of the chili spice or chili hotness will come from the green chili. So you will need to decide how hot it is, how hot you want this to be, and accordingly add chilies to your meat. Now that was another test to see how it's cooked. We've reached that point where it is not yet fully cooked, but it's getting there. And this is when we're adding the sauce into it, the Khus Khus sauce. And give it a nice swirl. Ensure that it coats everything throughout. Now this gives it a creamy feel. You can see little bits, stuck against each potato bit. Those little white patches or bits that you see on top there, that's the Khus Khus sauce. We're adding a little more water into this. And what we've actually done is, we've kind of added water into the mixie container in which we ground the Khus Khus earlier. And basically what we've done is use that to augment the amount of fluid here. Good time to do a quick test. It's nice and spicy. The salt is just a little less than what we need, but I think we can hold off till a little later just to make sure, and then at that point in time take another call on how much salt we want. But it still needs to cook, so we'll need some more time for the Khus Khus to cook and the entire medium to boil down a little bit. The reason we're waiting to check the salt level again later is because, remember, we've added some water into this, and as it starts to lose the water and evaporate and it becomes a thicker fluid, the salt content will increase in itself. So that's why we want to wait till later to recheck. We're going to go back and cover this dish for a little more time, allow for the potato to cook, and all this while the flame must still be on medium. And we're going to wait for a few more minutes and then come back and recheck on this. It's been about 3 or 4 minutes now since we covered it last. We're going to check again. As you can notice, the liquid is thickened. It's like a rich paste in the bottom. Though it was easier to push down into the aloo at this point in time, it's still not yet fully cooked. So we're going to have to cook it for a little longer. So we're just going to add a little more of water into this to allow the cooking to take place, and we're going to cover it again and cook it for some more time. Another quick check. It's been three to 4 minutes since we did our last check. It's almost there. Just another couple of minutes to allow it to soften a little more. At this point, we're going to increase the temperature a little bit by increasing the stove. The idea is because we want to reduce the amount of moisture while it's cooking. We've reached that final point of cooking. We want it to become a thicker paste. Now we're checking the potato as well as we are allowing to cook, and it's now able to actually slice through it without much effort. So the potato is pretty much ready now at this point of time, and we're going to add a little bit of sugar into this. Sugar provides a contrast between the spice by adding a little bit of sweetness to it, and allows the tastes of the various ingredients to come out better in the mouth. So that's just the reason why sugar is added here. The posto is ready in all respects. Now all it requires is to be plated and garnished. Now we made the potato a lot more softer than it normally might have been, and the reason is because we like our potato soft, and that's the reason why. Oftentimes the posto will actually be small potatoes cooked whole, and you'll find the potatoes standing out on their own amongst the masala. The posto has been transferred to a serving dish and is now being garnished with fresh cilantro leaves. It's ready now to be eaten. Now, posto is typically served with white rice or bhat and a nice dal. Usually the dal is slightly watery, and it goes well to mix it along with the thicker posto. Happy eating, folks, happy cooking, and see you next time.
Please don't forget to subscribe to our channel, click the like button, and do press the bell icon so that you can be notified of all our future episodes. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.